Hey, welcome to the Digital Remodeler Podcast. I'm so glad you've chosen to join us today. And with me is Tommy Mello. He is an American entrepreneur, author, and podcast host, best known as the founder and CEO of A1 Garage Door Service. They are a leading home service business. Started in 2006. He's grown it into a $220 million enterprise with over 800 employees, operating in more than 20 states. And in addition to his role at A1 Garage Door Service, he's the host of the Home Service Expert podcast and has also authored two best-selling books, The Home Service Millionaire and Elevate, Build a Business Where Everybody Wins. So, Tommy, welcome.
Hey, pleasure to be here.
All right. So go ahead and let's start in. You told me a little of your backstory when we first talked, and I think that's a good starting point. And then we'll kind of dive into some nuggets that the audience can use today as well.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me, like, where did it all start? They wonder, like they look at like Thomas Edison and wonder how Henry Ford and what made these guys who they are. And all I can tell you is my mom worked her butt off after my mom and dad got a divorce, and my dad taught me to aspire to be number one. So I'm from Detroit. You learn how to shovel snow and mow lawn at a young age there. And you know, I got along with everybody, but I was kind of a class clown, but I got pretty good grades. And then I turned in more to an athlete. So I kind of got along with everybody. I think my superpower was just, I got in with kind of the nerdy crowd. I got in with the athletes. I was vice president of my class. Then I moved to Phoenix just because I wanted to get my residency to go to ASU. So at 17, I graduated. And then, there's a lot to the story beyond that, but I wanted to help mom out. So I got a job washing dishes when I was 12 years old, 1 year before you're legally able to work. So that was under the table. And $4.05 an hour. And but I had money. At 12 years old, there's not a lot of bills. So if I wanted to buy something, I just did it. And that's how I always was, kind of self-sufficient. And I learned how to make money very young, but I didn't learn how to keep it till about 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. I mean, I had bought a house in 2012. I had equity in a lot of things, but I was always chasing revenue. When I got into the garage door business in 2006, I was painting them. And in 2007, I started a business, A1 Garage Door Specialist. In 2010, me and my partner separated, best friend, roommate, and business partner. We didn't see eye to eye. I gave him an opportunity to take on the debt, or I would. And he said, hey, I want to move to Montana. So I took the business, renamed the LLC to A1 Garage Door Service. 2014, founded an integrator. 2017, got on Service Titan, started a podcast. And the biggest thing is I met a guy named Al Levy, who taught me systems, standard operating procedures, and checklists, org charts, step charts, proper delegation techniques, how to manage a calendar. Respected him, learned from him, extracted everything I can from him. And then I went on to read more and more and more and get consultant after consultant. Some were great, some were lousy, but I just extracted information. I was a curious little George, And these last few years, we went from, 13%, 17%, 20%, 25%. Last couple of months, I don't know how, but we're doing 27% of the bottom line. So priced right, economies of scale, efficiency. I sold half the business in 2022 towards the end. Great partners, private equity. Wouldn't have changed a thing, and I mean that. I'm still in control, and I'm enjoying the journey. And I just got engaged last week. I've never been engaged with no kids. So I was engaged to my business for about 20 years. But that's where we're at today.
Well, congratulations. Yeah, that's when we talked, that was one of the things you had mentioned. So congratulations on that step. So I want to unpack a couple of things that you brought up there. Number one, not just chasing revenue. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And then the second thing I want to unpack, though, is you've brought mentors into your life. I was noticing the bookshelf behind you. You have a few of my favorites on the shelf behind you. And so talk about those things. First of all, how did you come to the realization that you were chasing revenue and really kind of missing the point as far as growing your business and the bottom line? And then secondarily, how did you find the right mentors, the right voices to listen to start learning from? Where did you start looking for those?
Yeah. So I used to walk into a room and really what we would do in chamber meetings or BBB get-togethers or different seminars, we talk about how much revenue did you do last year? What'd you do last quarter? I mean, it was always revenue. I mean, I really, till about 8 years ago, I didn't know what EBITDA meant. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand, even though I got a master's degree in business and I've taken accounting and finance courses, but we were taking apart annual reports for like massive companies. We would look at balance sheets and stuff, but it wasn't practical. So I didn't know how to apply it into my business. I would just pass the class and do what I needed to do. I didn't have a deep foundation or a fundamental understanding of what financials were. So as I started to get better, but really I would say it's who, not how. I got some of the right financial people on the team, but just a few years ago, I got the right CFO. But this idea of revenue is for vanity and profit is for sanity is so true. You'd walk in a room and I'd puff my chest and do like 30 million. The sad part was I wasn't keeping a lot of it, but I'd always tell myself, and this was a mistake. I'd say I'm just reinvesting in the company. I'm reinvesting in the company, but I couldn't prove that. I I didn't know. I just say, look, I put it all back in, but I was buying 1,000 widgets because I'd get them for 5 cents cheaper. And I was just dumping, spraying and praying in marketing with really without great attribution. And I was saying I'm buying vehicles because I want less tax liability, but I didn't have anybody to put the vehicles, put into the vehicles. And I was doing dumb decisions, listening to the wrong CPAs to lower my taxable liability, but ending up with zero money in January, but a small tax bill, but with no profit. I mean, we were on cash accounting way back, a decade ago. So things started to change, and I'm like, yep. We went through COVID, and the multiples went from 5 to 8 to 12 to 15 to 20x if you're a platform company. 20 years of profit they'll pay you, or EBITDA, which is a fancy word for profit. And all of a sudden it occurred to me, like, I have more opportunity to grow this business if I have a blank checkbook. We got it to 28 million of EBITDA, got a 20x. I kept half the business. I gave $100 million to the people involved that helped us get there. 25 millionaires came out of the deal. And, we're going to run this thing to about 120 million. And I think we'll get the same multiple. And if you do the math, that's 2.4 billion. Pretty good number. So that's the deal with revenue. And as far as finding mentors, when I started the podcast, I started that in 2017. I never missed a week. And Al Levy happened to be one of the first few, and he happened to live in Phoenix, where I live in Scottsdale. And when I met him, I don't know, it was divine. It was Jesus Christ, I think, that introduced me, just because he was exactly what I needed. And he's like a second father to me. But I'm a big reader. I mean, these are nothing. I got 1,200 books on Audible. I have more books that I haven't read than read, because about 5 years ago, I started ordering way too many books, and I can't even keep up. And plus, I'm podcasting way more than I ever have. But readers are leaders. And when you read a book that's really interesting, that you learn a lot from, if you could get a lot of the times, a writer will have a program you could go through. And I'm willing to pay. I think the more I pay, the more I pay attention to who I'm paying. If I get something for free, I'm like, it's probably not great information. And I learned that kind of the hard way. So, and that's why, I think charging people the right amount of money is a great thing, because I know a buddy of mine who used to have free tickets to a seminar. He goes, 30% of the people would show up. Started charging 100. He got 60%. Charging 10,000. Nobody missed, because it was hard to refund. So I'd say every 40 podcasts on average I do, I'll hire somebody I had on, because I'll be like, whoa, you blew my mind. You're the best recruiter trainer I've ever seen. You got different tactics. But more importantly, it's people I like to work with. And, you got to respect them. You got to listen to them. You got to do what they say. And then you got to give them the recognition when I'm on stages. And that's what people appreciate. They appreciate the fact that I pay it forward to them.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let's shift gears. So when we talked earlier, one of the things that you were passionate about, and you kind of talk about it in your sleep even, is for that local service company how to dominate on the Google business profile. That's a passion topic of yours. And so that's what I think where we landed in our conversation. Let's get into that because this year Google has even expanded, what services are available, how they can promote locally. And I know that's an area that you've used very extensively. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, some of your recommendations to the listeners out there, how you've leveraged that tool in particular with your business and how you've been encouraging others to do that.
Yeah, so I have about 6,700 call tracking numbers. You name a marketing source, from Angie's List to Thumbtack to billboards, TV, radio, every form of Google, Bing, every lead aggregator that you could think of, door to door, home shows. There's not a newspaper, Valpax, Clipper, you in your home. You name it, I'm doing it. Like literally, like these things, each one of these things, by the way, it's not spray and pray. There's an art to it. Even the yellow book still works in certain markets. There's definitely retirement communities. So there's a lot to choose from, but there's one thing I know that's got the best ROI possible, and that's the GVP or Google My Business page. Like nothing even comes close to it. And people are like, well, how do you rank for that? That's just kind of organic. Well, everything has an algorithm that could kind of be reverse engineered. Now, Google will change the algorithm. It used to be a 7-pack a long time ago. Now it's a 3-pack. The 3-pack is, so you see your local service ads at the top, and then you've got a few PPC, and then you've got your 3-pack. Well, your 3-pack throws the reviews. It shows the reviews and the hours of operation. It shows the products you carry. It tells about the business. It's got some pictures in there. And that's the place that I do the most damage. And how do you rank on that? Well, there's a lot of ways to do it. First, when you're on citation sites like Yelp and Kudzu and Merchant Circle, and they go on and on. Angie and Yellow Pages, Yellowbot, there's 10,000 citation sites. You want to get on as many of those as possible and start getting user-generated content on them. BBB is a very important one in Google. Getting the other thing is hours of operation need to be 24/7. The other thing is how you pick the location. Do not pick a location next to a competitor with 10,000 reviews. The next thing is don't pick a location where it's only warehouses. You want to be in a affluent neighborhood where there's hardly any business locations and you don't have a lot of competition. So 90% of the battle's picking the right location and then doing all the work with name, address, phone number are the exact same. Now you got to go into the review game, and you got to get not a ton of reviews, but a good amount of reviews that are very long and honest with pictures in them. And consistently. You don't want 21 day and nothing for 2 months. It's got to stay consistent. So that's the beginning of it. There's a lot of other little intricacies as far as local SEO on your website and the way it interacts with the Google My Business page. But about 1.5 years ago, my buddy called me and he goes, hey, I think I figured out Google's algorithm. And my buddy's really smart, but I started laughing and I'm like, okay, dude. And he goes, listen, Tommy, he goes, what does Google want more than anything? And I said, backlinks. And he said, yeah, but what else? I said, new content. Like they want a great user experience, right? They want to make sure the end user is getting the best possible company or search query possible. That's how Google makes its money. They charge us called pay-per-click and local service ads now. So he said, exactly. He said, what if I told you if I could take your pictures out of ServiceTitan and feed them to your GMB page through my software I've worked on? I said, it sounds really cool. How much do you want? I've got 70 locations. He goes, let's try 5 and I'll throw in a 6th one for free. I go, fine, how much do you want? He's like, I don't remember at the time. It was like 600 a pop. I was like, so it's 3,600 a month. And you'll build all the stuff, API it in and do all the work. I was like, okay, 3 months worth, whatever, 11 grand. Okay. 6 weeks later, my VP of marketing goes, hey, dude, have you been messing with anything in our Google My Business pages? I'm like, No, not really. I'm like, I keep an eye on the reviews, and we work with the different companies to just make sure that we're trying to remove negative reviews and making sure the policies, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, dude, we are like murdering it on these 6, and they're all in Phoenix. He's like, the call volume is quadrupled. And all of a sudden it dawned on me. I'm like, dude, I didn't tell you, but I paid my buddy Kellen. So I called Kellen up and I'm like, how much to do all of them? And because what it does is you're loading in before and after pictures, and Google recognizes it's never been done before. This is brand new to us, and it's geotagged.
Mm-hmm.
So Kellen's got the software called PinParrot, PinParrot, and it's cheap. But the deal is, I probably sent 150 people to him, and I've not had one person not call me back and say, dude, you saved my business. This is a miracle. Some people didn't even claim their second location. Some people, they don't understand that look, he's like, sometimes I'll be like, just shut this one down. You got too many negative reviews. Let's close this location and let's sublease it and let's start from scratch. Like there's so much. He's just smart at this stuff, right? And I know, like, also become a better company and don't get 1 stars. You know what I mean? Let's show up on time to the jobs. Treat the customers right and make sure they're getting the value. Fix the business first. But if you bought a business and it's got a lot of 1 stars, rather than try to get it from you got 500 reviews and it's a 2.7, what are you going to do? I'd rather restart it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are some basics. But let's just say you're, Carl, I'm sorry, but you're spending, I don't know, $4,000 rent. You're going to pay some optimization, and you might want to pay your guys for reviews, but let's just say you're all in for, you need to pay for the rent anyway. So that's not really a cost. So let's say you're paying your guys reviews, and you're spending on, I don't know, a couple grand a month. What if this thing could get you 15 leads a day? And what if, see, what's really cool is you could expand the search. There's like these dots in there. You've seen them, green, yellow, red. What if you could expand the search way more? So he helps you pick the right location. I just think there's nothing else I've ever seen with a better ROI. I mean, what else helps is people search for A1 garage versus garage door repair, Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And I could, like, we're putting a lot of money this year into showrooms to have multiple Google My Business pages. But we're putting a ton of money back into search engine optimization, into backlinks and new content as well. And we're focusing on mobile speed, H1 tags. We're focusing on metadata and schema data and putting out the best content possible. We got heat maps on the pages. Right now, we're a 63 domain ranking. We'll be a 70 by the end of the year. I'm putting a ton of money into nonprofit 501(c)(3)s. They're putting links back into us. They're getting their community involved. There's PR involved with that. There's social media involved. Like, if you can't tell, audience, and Carl, I'm obsessed with marketing and I love it.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad you're hitting into this, because here's a mindset shift. And let me ask you if you went through this, because, I meet a lot of contractors who look at marketing as an expense. They don't understand it's an investment. It should return. Every dollar going out should return multiples coming back. In your journey, did you have to go through that mental shift as well?
No, I became obsessed when I got my master's degree, 2010 to 2012. I got lucky because I sat next to these dorks, and it was a table not much bigger than this. And all they did, one of them did all the SEO for the Marriotts. He had a whole team under him. Anytime I had to do backlinks, and then I'm editing videos, and I'd come in greasy from fixing garage doors. I was still a technician in my own company, but I was like, man, this is so cool. And then I saw the ROI on Valpak, and I saw, wait a minute, if I research everybody else's Valpak last month and make my deals a little bit better, a little bit less scrambly, you don't have to put everything you do on there, like a clear message, clear call to action. You don't need 3 phone numbers. Put the phone number of where the Valpak goes. Instead of having, like, don't look like a big company, look like a mom and pop company, somebody that you could trust, a local community. And I got really good at it. A lot of people say spend 3 to 5%. I think you should spend 10 to 15%. But realistically, think about the percentage of revenue goes down if you got a higher booking rate or a higher conversion rate. But I'm always in growth mode, and we're greenfielding too. So if I had a market that was 30 years old with stickers everywhere, I might say, okay, I'm good with 6%. But when you're in growth mode, when you're trying to steal market share, there's only one thing. And people always ask me, what grew A1 now? We'll do over 300 million this year with a massive bottom line. I say that I'm the marketing. Sales is important. Of course, recruiting the right people, smiling when you knock on the door. But we service 20,000 clients a month. 20,000. And if you don't get obsessed with marketing, it's one thing I'll never leave to a company and just say, hey, go do all my marketing. I trust you. I'm sorry. Because their job is to just take 1,000 people. They could go to the Philippines, hire people, get VAs, and they don't have focus on one person. So we work with about 15 agencies. One company does our TV buys and helps us build the right messaging. I got another one that does radio. A special one does billboards. I got another one that only helps us like just SEO. Then I got somebody that runs a special algorithm for PPC. And then I got another one that does LSA, literally. Like every single, I want a specialist. I don't want a jack of all trades. I want somebody that just does one thing. They're the best. I got this landscape guy that was remodeling the whole backyard, building baddest ass pool. Like it's really nice house, really extravagant, very expensive. And me and Bree were on the phone with him, and she goes, "Oh my God." She goes, "I'm on Pinterest and the top 50 are all you." And I just typed in this. And he goes, "Well, make another search type." And she goes, "How are you doing this? It's all you." And I go, "Hey man, could I get your Pinterest girl's number?" And he goes, "Dude, I only paid $1,200 a month for that." I get 23,000 unique visitors to our website from Pinterest. Do you not think I hired her that day?
Yeah.
So sometimes I got to tell you, Carl, success leaves clues. If you want to know how to win, if you're doing garage doors or gutters or roofing, call the biggest HVAC company, do a search, and see who's at the top organically. See who's ranking with 2,000 reviews. Take them out to lunch, read their book, go and humble. Ask questions. If they say no, go to the next one. But don't try to reinvent the wheel, and don't go to a conference and look who's already doing it and do something for them so great that they're like, "Sure, I'll help you. I'll tell you who I use and how we do it. I'll let you meet my VP of marketing." Like, don't reinvent the wheel. Giuseppe.
Absolutely. So what's, in your learning curve right now, what's the thing you're most excited about? What's kind of the new thing that you're kind of digging your teeth into that gets you excited right now?
Yeah, so there's three things really. I kind of woke up 2 months ago or 2 years ago, and I'm so good. I'm like, man, my marketing is just next level. And by the way, I've never arrived. I'm not a guru. Like, there's so many people. I'm well-rounded and I understand most. I can't build the links that I used to be able to build, and I don't know. Like, there's so much software now, the things that specialists help me do. But I'm like, I'm looking at the difference between my bottom guy and my top guy with 400 technicians. And I'm even looking at the median and the mode, and I'm getting into statistics, and I'm looking at outliers. And I'm like, what if I was better at marketing for people to come work next to me, my coworkers? What if I could hire all A++ players? You'd be talking about $1 million per guy, because our top guys do $1 million more than just the medium guys. $1 million more. I mean, those are those guys are anomalies. But I said, what if I wanted to be just like I figured out to make the phone ring? What if I had A+ players coming into work for me? That, yes, they need training, they need love, but some of these people, they're self-starters. They smile all the time. They'll pick up a shift. They're great fathers. They want to provide more. They want to buy a second, third, fourth house. They don't just say, "Hey, I made this amount, I'm good." So I'm obsessed with marketing for great people, which is recruiting. And it's actually going out there and pulling people from other jobs. It's ranking number 1 on all the job boards, ZipRecruiter and Glassdoor and Indeed. And they go Monster and Career Builder and social media like Facebook. And then you want to go out and you want to be sending things through Messenger, and you want to rank number 1 for home service jobs or blue collar jobs. And there's And then you want to have all your TV, radio, and billboards, not just going after the client, but you want them to go after great people as well. So we're learning all these things, and I'm just obsessed with it because so many people, they need more leads, but you're only booking 40% of the calls. Your CSRs are not good. They're not trained. They're not hungry. They're not empathetic. Your conversion rate's crap. Your guys are afraid to sell because they think sales are bad. And I say, I don't need to sell anything. I give my clients options, not ultimatums. Hey, I'm going to go over a few options I think would work for you. Pick one you like. And I hope you choose us for your graduate company for the rest of your life and tell your friends, neighbors, and family. So that one I'm excited about. I love marketing, and I'm just really big into culture. Like this year is going to be my biggest year of appreciation. Just telling people how much I love them, how much I'm glad they're on our team. It's recognizing their birthdays, their anniversaries, their best days. And then also the guys, gals that maybe aren't having a great day, just saying, hey, are you okay? Is everything all right? What can I do for you? And getting a hold of their wives and husbands and telling them how proud I am of them. And thank you for the support. And I know you're part of this team as well because you're taking care of the homestead. So those are the three things: marketing, recruiting, and just really telling everybody how much I love them. And I'm pretty excited about the economy and the way we're going. Today's a great day in the market. I think there's $1 trillion going to come into the market. I'm very familiar with private equity. They all have to spend the money. Yep. Their crunch time, the last 2 years have been really bad. So I think you're going to see an influx of so much money this year. And we're going to see days that were better. COVID was a really bad thing for people, but in home service, it was the best thing you could ever imagine. And I think we're going to see better years than we did in COVID.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, rates are coming down. Money's getting cheap again. So you're seeing a lot of things happen. So great stuff. So Tommy, somebody wants to connect with you. Where's the best place for them to get connected with you and start following you and pick up more of what you have?
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's if you just go to Tommy Mello, MELLO, there's no W. So TOMMYMELLO.com. It's got all my social media on there. And I would say, look, I'm just a garage door guy. We happen to do really well. I hire people way smarter than me, but so many people open the door to me and let me come in their shop and introduce me to their staff. And they answered all my questions. And I could go after, Ken Goodrich, Ken Haynes, Leland Smith, just the names keep going, all HVAC guys. And so I decided years ago, I'm going to let people come in and do shop tours. And if you go to TommyMello.com/shop, I don't charge for it. You can bring anybody you want. I will give you the best day of your life. I'll show you all my secrets, introduce you to my whole team. And it's my way of, number one, appreciating my team. And it keeps our place spick and span. It lets me acknowledge everybody on my team. And it's a way to say, look, I was once your size. Probably companies that come visit that are bigger than me. I don't know. But it's a great way to just chat and get some ideas, because I've made a lot of mistakes. I pride myself, Carl, on all the mistakes I've made. Not a lot of stuff's gone right, but more things have gone wrong. I just didn't allow them to keep going wrong. So if somebody's got a question, I'm like, dude, I've been there. I made that mistake. I fall down all the time. I mean, people are like, how do you keep getting back up? And I'm like, didn't kill me. So that would be great if anybody wants to come visit.
Good. And any final thoughts that you have? Just parting nuggets of wisdom that you think the audience might want to hear as you close out here.
I was on a podcast about 6 months ago, and the guy said, I've never met anybody that feels like they're just able to climb the social ladder of wealth and just knowledge and spiritual guidance. And just, I've been working out a lot, and I go to church every Sunday, and I pray, and my breathing techniques. And he goes, how are you learning this so quickly? And I said, well, if you look at your inner circle of 4, 5, 6, 7 people, and you're not inspired, it's a cage. And when you become the top person in your circle, it still becomes a cage. I mean, if you're your best golfer, you're always going to be the best golfer in that group until you go into a new group and you're the worst golfer. Then all of a sudden you got a new challenge. So I'm able to get in these new groups very quickly. And it's not like I give up on people and stop loving on them and don't remember the guys I grew up with. But you got to look at your inner circle and get inspired. And when you're at the gym, find somebody that works out harder than you, that jogs a little bit faster than you, that lifts a little bit more weight than you, that says, we're not leaving early. When you go to church, find somebody that with their arms up, praising God harder. When you meet somebody who's a better dad than you, that shows up for their family more, that's at every dinner. Like, write down what you want. Write it down on paper, and write it down and look at it and put it in your shower, put it on your mirror when you get out of the shower, put it in your car, put it in your office. Remember, the money's not going to make you happy. I promise you that. It's who you become in the process of being successful. So I would just tell you, watch who you hang out with, and you will become who you hang out with, and try to get inspired and write down your goals, and you're going to have a lot of great things happen.
Fantastic. Tommy, it's been great having you. Thanks for joining me today. And to our audience, thanks for joining us on the Digital Remodeler Podcast, and we look forward to having you again.
Thanks, Carl.